Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap. I took 3 trades today. I've got everything on video. We're going to go over them right now. We're also going to go over how I set up my hotkeys and how to find things on my YouTube channel. And we'll get a lot of stuff to go over, so stick around because it's a good video and you're going to learn a lot. Also, if you'd like to become a member of the trading group, just click on the little Facebook icon here from my YouTube Trading Armor homepage. That'll bring you over to the trading group where you can click on files and download my trade tracking spreadsheet, my 2-hour calculator, my trading plan, all that stuff. So something very interesting happened today with one of my trades. So make sure you watch all 3 trades that we're going to go over, because it actually accounts for me adding a new rule to my trading plan, because this is something that I haven't really seen happen since I've been trading this plan or strategy or using hotkeys. I have seen it before, but it's one of those really rare things. And, you know, I kind of got stunned and basically made a mistake, but there was really nothing in my plan at that moment to keep me from doing it. But now there is, since that happened. So anyway, as always, I start with Whlm on the markets pane, select top gainers, pre-market. That's when we're trading. All of these trades are right around 4 a.m. Then I click on all, organized by volume. I'm only interested in the top 3 stocks. If number 2 and 3 stock have to be lower float for me to consider them. So anything less than 110 million shares. So that qualifies. CAN does not. And when I was trading, it was PT, CAN, and BABA. Now, here's another thing that I've added just recently is I also click, once I've got those, I click on pre-market, and whatever is the number 1 top gainer only. I don't look at the others. It just so happens that PT is number 2, and that was on the top 3 by volume. But I'm also adding the number 1 top gainer to the list, and that affected trading today as well. So let's look at the video right now. So here's PT. That was the first one, and I'm marking out the high of the previous session, and the price has to go above that for me to look for an entry. So let's fast forward a little bit, and now you can see that the price is broken through, and I only trade the ABCD pattern once it's broken through the previous high. I have a video about that as well. Oh, I didn't show you this. This is really important. Is on the YouTube Trading Armor page. If you have a question about anything, just type it in the search bar. Like everybody's asking about my hotkeys. I have 3 videos about hotkeys already. Now if there's something that you want to know about, and either I don't have a video or I do have a video but you still don't understand it, then feel free to ask a question, leave a comment in any of my videos, and I'll try to address it in the upcoming video. So today I'm going to show you about hotkeys, but let's get through this trade first, and then after we're done with the trades, I'll show you the hotkeys. So right now, my first entry would be for the break of this candle, which I don't think happens. Yeah, so now it's for the break of this one. This one has a high of 165, so my ideal entry would be 166. So, and actually, this was a mistake I made, but it didn't affect this trade at all. Is when I shut down and restart Whlm, I have to remember to unlock the platform so that I can take a trade. Here I tried to trigger my hotkeys to buy at 166, and I got this trading verification thing because I forgot to unlock it. So I unlocked it really quick, and then I checked to see where the price was. I didn't trigger it there. I tried to see if it would come back down to 166. There it does. I was actually getting ready to put in a limit order, because I could set a limit order for 166, and that way I don't get filled unless it comes back down to my ideal price. But there it came down to the 166, so I just used my hotkeys and I got filled exactly where I wanted to at 166. And now my stop loss is the low of the previous candle, and then you'll see me use my 2-hour calculator to figure out my profit target. That way I don't make any math errors. So there we go, $1.80, and there's my stop loss. Let's see what happens. So just marking out the profit target. Since the price is well below my entry, there's no reason to put out a profit target order at this point, because it's looking like it's going to stop me out. And you can't have the profit target order out there and hit your hotkeys to sell. It'll give you a warning that you're trying to short sell, because it's going to add both of those orders together. So, okay, so now this is where things start to get interesting. Whlm just popped up on the top gainer screener organized by the top gainers, you know, the pre-market percentage. And right now I would think it was at 37%. And at the same time, PT is sitting right here at my stop loss level, but it has to go below that. There, it did, for me to get out. And you can see what happened. This is really important, is since I brought Whlm up on the screen and I had clicked inside the box, you see how the highlight is now surrounding Whlm. So whatever I do with my hotkeys will trigger an action in Whlm. So you see when the stop loss came down below my stop level, I came over here and I clicked it very quickly and then triggered my hotkeys and I got filled. It showed you down there at 157, so just 2 cents slippage there, which is not bad. There, 157. So now Whlm, notice that this is the previous high, so the price has to be above that level. It is right now for me to look for an entry. So that's what I was doing, zooming out, as seeing, okay, where's the previous high and are we above it yet? And yes, as of right now we are. So now I'm just waiting for the first pullback. This is where things got really unusual. And I'll explain exactly what happened. So, okay, so here we are. Whoops, it just happened. So this is the first pullback in my eyes, because right now this candle here went all the way to 1082. This candle's already done forming and it didn't even get above 10. So even though the close of this candle is higher than this one, since the range is much lower, I still consider that a pullback. And my ideal entry would be for the break of this candle. So the high of this candle is 981. So if the price goes above 980, it goes to 982 or higher, I have to get in. Now let's see what happens. So watch this little price bubble here. Okay, did you see that? I'm going to show you that one more time. It went to 999 and then 931 in a split second there. Okay, here it comes in just a few seconds. Watch this price bubble right here. It's 931, 943. There it goes, 999 back down to 931. So as soon as I saw that 999, I was supposed to hit my hotkeys to get in, and I had my fingers on the hotkeys. I saw the 999, but it came down so fast to 931 that I hesitated. When I saw that 931, I stopped the action of pressing the hotkeys. Here's why. Because I know that if I got in at 931 as opposed to 982, I'm going to leave potentially $1 per share of profit on the table, because that's a difference of 50 cents and I'm trading 2R, so that means 2 times my risk. So it'd be twice that difference. So I was greedy there and thinking, you know, I don't want to get in at 931. I want to get in at my ideal entry or right around there so that I can get the full potential of this trade. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if I was aware that at 931 it wasn't below my stop loss, because if it bounced down below this candle, then that's not an entry that I should be taking either. But regardless, really the bottom line is my stop loss, or sorry, my entry was triggered, and I have to take that entry without hesitation. And that's the new rule that I've added to the plan, and I'll show you why in just a second. But let's go over that really quick. If you're, need to put an R there. If your entry gets triggered, hit your buy hotkeys no matter what, even if the price comes down as you're triggering your hotkeys, as long as it hasn't hit your stop loss price. So, and then this is a reminder of what happened today, and I'll show you why that's so important to not hesitate on the way in. So let's see. Okay, so here was the idea. Sorry, but since I missed that entry, now I was thinking, well, let me wait for the price to come back up to my ideal entry of 982 or better, and then I'll trigger my hotkeys, and that way, you know, I get the trade that I wanted to get. So, and you can't do, you know, if I would, like, let's say I put a buy limit order at 983, that wouldn't work. It would fill me at whatever lower price it's at. The only way that you could get in on the way up is with a stop order, which you're not allowed to use those during the pre-market on any broker. So here I am trying to get that 982. Let's watch the price. There goes to 980. Okay, again, it goes up super quickly there. So 980, I can't get in yet because I'm looking for 982 or better. Let's watch this bubble over here in real time. Did you see that? I went from 980 to 1065 in a split second. So as soon as I see it pass by that 982, I trigger my hotkeys. No hesitation this time. But now I take some slippage on the way up, and I get filled way above my ideal entry of 982. I actually take 70 cents slippage on the way up. That means that I need the price to go even $1.40 more than it would have gone at, or would have had to go at my ideal entry. Let me show you on my 2-hour calculator. That'll make the most sense. So this is the actual trade, 1053. My stop's 863. That makes my profit target 1433. If I would have gotten my ideal entry 982, my profit target would have been 1220. So that's a huge difference. One trade has an 18% risk, and the other trade has a 12% risk. So let's see what happened. Now, of course, my strategy and plan says that there's nothing I can do about that slippage. That once I'm in the trade, I have to either let it hit my target or my stop loss, and that's it. There's no scaling out or anything like that, because I used to do that in the past and it doesn't work. I always ended up red in the long run. A lot of times when you get slippage on the way in too, the target ends up getting hit, because that's often an indication that there's tons of buying power, and there definitely was here. I mean, the price went up a lot more, but it still didn't quite get to my entry. But notice it did hit. It would have hit all my other profit targets if you know, like let's say I got that 931 entry, 1067 would have been my profit target. I would have been done with this trade already. It still would have been a nice gain of like 14% on that trade. That would have been an awesome trade. I could have easily gotten that. And then the 982, if I would have somehow gotten the ideal entry, that would have also been hit, because you can see it's already above 1220. That would have been a 24% gain. Another awesome trade. But this is where I'm actually at, looking for that 1433 target. And it only goes to 1287, and it starts to come down against me. But if I did anything here other than wait for my profit target or stop loss to get hit, I would have broken a rule, and I would have to stop trading for the rest of the month because of that. So that's not an option right now. And there's a reason why that's not an option, because I know that in the long run, I'll end up red if I do that kind of thing. You want to take as much subjectivity out, actually all the subjectivity out of your trading as possible. So right here, now this is another really important point, is that right now it's near my stop loss. And even though the spread is pretty small right now, it's 4 cents, sometimes it's 1 cent. I am aware, and I prepare myself. This is really important. Prepare yourself for the fact that you are very likely to get slippage on the way out, because you're not the only one with your stop loss at the low of this candle. And being this is a low float stock, that means that it doesn't take a lot of volume for price to move a great deal. So I'm already aware that once this thing comes down and hits my stop, that it's likely to flush down very quickly. But I'm not going to hesitate on the way out, because you never know when that flush is going to end, and you don't want to be holding the stock as this thing goes lower, and now your loss is even bigger. So let's watch what happens. Okay, there's 870. Okay, there. You see that? So it went from 870, my stop loss is 863, went all the way down to 848. So you can see without hesitation, this shows you that I've already triggered my hotkeys. And I unfortunately got filled at 840, but I didn't hesitate, and that means that you know, if something like this happens and continues to flush down, that I'm going to limit my losses. So it just so happened that this one did kind of bounce back up, but you never know when that's going to happen, so you can't really just wait and hope that happens, because just as often it'll just keep continuing down lower. So now I've taken 2 trades at this point, and my trading strategy tells me that as soon as the next, so I can take up to 3 trades. As soon as the next entry is triggered, I have to get in no matter what, as long as the stock is still like the #1 top gainer or the #1 on volume. This one was still a #1 top gainer. So my next entry is for the break of 878, and you can see it did it right here. I think I triggered my hotkeys right at this moment. So let me click play. There, you can see my hotkeys are triggered. I get filled to 887. So again, take a little bit of slippage on the way in, but nothing like before. And now my stop loss is the low of this candle. And at this point, there's no way I can recover from that first trade, because that was an 18% loss plus more slippage on the way out. So it was probably even more, like 20 something percent. And the only way that I could recover from that is if I had, say, like a 10 or 11 or 12% risk trade. And this one is going to be, I think, like 4.6 or something, like 5.4%. So that means that the reward for this is going to be double that. So about 10.8%. So now this is the 3rd and final trade. As soon as we're done with this trade, I'll show you the hotkey setup. So same thing, my stop loss is -1R, my profit target is 2R. I've got my profit target order out because this thing is moving really quickly. You know, once it broke that $9 level, it started jumping up real fast. So you want to have that order out there, because it could come up to your target and then reverse back down, and you could miss your exit if you try to use your hotkeys or something else to get out. So the best thing is to have a limit order there. That way, as soon as that price gets hit, you get filled. Look at the spread on this thing. It goes from 18 cents, 26 cents, pretty big. Just fast forwarding here a little bit. Okay, we're 975. Shoot, there's 980. I'm at 983. There, 985. I get filled at 983. Continues a little bit higher. I don't think it went too much higher before it came back down. So that was a good trade, and the beauty of that trade is it helps me recover a lot of those losses on that first trade. Let's look really quickly at how much I would have been in the red. Actually, it's going to be tricky with this, but that trade, I know, we'll look at the spreadsheet here. That last trade, I made $6.70, right? So this will be easy to do on the spreadsheet. So my red day is 981, right? But it would actually be 1651 had I not taken that last trade. So I almost cut my losses in half because I took that last trade. And that wasn't the reason behind the last trade. The reason behind the last trade was because I'm supposed to take 3 trades in a situation like that. You can see that's what I've been doing all month, and unfortunately most of this month the 3rd trade has not been working out, but today it worked out, and it also worked out on Friday, and now I'm actually green on the 3rd trade. So the 3rd trade is actually the only trade that's working so far this month as far as my actual P&L is going. Here's the first trade, and here's the second trade. So the 3rd trade is the only one I'm green on at this point. And just to give you comparison, this is what it looked like in March. My first trade, second trade, and 3rd trade all were green, but the 3rd trade was actually basically break even. So we don't know how it's going to work out till the end of the month. So anyway, yeah, unfortunately down another 981 for the day, but that was really, I had to say that was my fault, because of that hesitation on that second trade, because this would have been a green trade and I would have been done trading for the day, and this trade would have definitely outweighed. It wouldn't have been, you know, a 20% gain or anything, but you know, we looked at it over here. It would have been at the worst a 14% gain, and my first losing trade was 4%. So it definitely would have made up for the first trade. I would have been green, and that would have been it for the day. But we all saw what happened. And now let's look at the hotkeys really quick for those that are interested in that. So I'm always trading from the watch list page, but you can do this from any page. But this is my hotkeys. I keep them down here because I don't, well, these are the hot buttons. The hotkeys, obviously, I trigger with my keyboard, so I don't really need these in sight. And I do need this in sight because that's how I enter my profit target. And I also like to have my key statistics available so I can look at the float size. But here's how I have them set up. If you click on, well, let's say you don't have this on your watch list page or any page. If you click on widget settings, scroll down and click on active trade, that will bring those buttons onto whichever page you are that you're using for your trading. And then you click on the little gear icon, active trade settings. So I have my hotkeys set. This is my buy button. I use the buy ask. These are just preset buttons, but then how you set them is what really matters. So make sure it's set to limit, and limit price, ask. So an ask, so when you buy the ask, it is a limit order. It just sets the limit at the ask price. The ask is where the sellers are at, so that's who you're able to buy from. If you set that to bid, what's actually going to happen, well, I guess you can't set this to bid, but you can do the buy the bid button. The price will actually have to come down to where the ask is where the bid was when you hit your entry, because there are no sellers at the bid price. That's only buyers. So that may not make sense, but I have another video where I talk about trading in the pre-market, and I go over that very easily. You know, what it means to buy the ask and the bid and all that kind of stuff. So check that video out. But this is how I have my hotkey set up. I buy the ask, have it set to limit order. This number just comes from my buying power. Whatever, I just trade with 10% of my buying power on every trade. So it's set to $69 right now. Earlier it was set to 70. And my limit offset is 3 cents. So that means that whatever the ask is, that I give it 3 cents cushion. So if the ask is $10, my order will go in at 10.03, and it'll fill me at the best available price below at 10.03 or less. Good till canceled, that doesn't really matter. You can have that set today, but this just makes the order last for up to 30 days. But of course, my trades are over in usually, you know, minutes, so it doesn't really matter. This is an absolute must. You have to have it selected extended hours if you want to be trading pre-market. That'll also work during the day, so you don't have to change that. And then the hotkey, this part is up to you. If you haven't set these yet, it'll be blank, and I have mine set to Control Z because I like to have my right hand free to use the mouse, and my left hand I use to trigger my buy order, and I can easily grab Control Z with one hand, you know, and it has like a nice little feel to it. So that's that. And then my sell button is, I use the sell customized, limit type, sorry, order type is limit, bid because that's where the buyers are and you want to sell to the buyers, quantity 100% because this is basically my stop loss, you know, manual stop loss key. So this is if the price is coming down and hitting my stop, I want to get out everything, and I want to get out as soon as possible. And I also want to get out even if the thing continues to flush down. So I have the limit offset to -5 cents. So if it comes down, let's say my stop loss is $10 and it's flushing down against me, when the price hits $10, my order goes out for $9.95 or better. So it's going to fill me, you know, even if it continues down below that $10, I'm going to get filled and I won't be stuck holding a stock that is flushing down. And again, same thing here, and that's it. And then I use Alt A for that one. That way it feels quite different than my buy button. and I don't accidentally trigger my sell or my buy when I don't mean to. The last button that I have that you see here, this will only be important to you if you're trading with less than $100, is I have this button to buy a quantity of 100, so 100 shares. Now that's only useful if I'm trading a stock that's trading below a dollar. Like let's say it's a 75-cent stock and I still want to trade it. I have to buy 100 shares, so that's $75, which is more than my current buy button right now. So this is the only way that I can get into that stock. If you're trading with over $100, you don't have to have this button. You can just use your regular buy button and it will put in how much ever money you normally trade with. So that's that. All this other stuff is pretty much the same, and I use again a very different setup here. Control B. It's very far away from my other keys so I don't accidentally trigger it. And this button almost never gets used. I used it the other day, but that was like the first time in like 2 or 3 months. So the most important ones are these two right here. So hopefully that helps. And you can see what happened here with Whlm, kind of a crazy mover. And PT never ever came back up near my target or my stop loss after it flushed down. So good thing I got out of that when I did. But anyway, hopefully you guys learned something from this, and always take your stop losses no matter what. Honor your profit targets, and in the long run you should be green. Take care.